about something that I think is very important. Well, I know it's very important because a lot of times the topic that I'm going to talk about is not addressed. And when it's not addressed, a lot of that ends up being problems and situations that could have been avoidable or preventable. And the specific things that I want to talk about is preparing you for a relationship. Preparing you for a relationship. You're dating and you want to be in a serious relationship. You are actually ready to be with a woman and make it more, maybe more than just a relationship. Maybe you're ready to become married. And that is what I want to talk about in this video. And that is you knowing exactly what to do, what to avoid, and really how to prepare yourself. So when it comes to you dating a woman, you may be in a situation where you're dating maybe one or two or three different women, and you're just not sure exactly which woman you want to be with. Maybe one woman is excellent at cooking, and you really enjoy food. You really enjoy home cooked meals, and you enjoy her cooking. However, maybe there's a part of her that you really don't enjoy, you really don't like. Maybe that thing is she doesn't really know how to communicate or converse with you on an intellectual level. And so now you're trying to figure out, and this is just an example, you're trying to figure out, okay, this woman does these things that I value, that I really find attractive and I really appreciate. However, she's lacking in these areas where this other woman that I'm dating and talking to, she fills the gap in those areas. So the question I have for you is, what's more important and what do you value most? Because if you value something most that you're not getting fulfilled by one woman and you choose the other woman, you're always going to be looking for that one thing to be fulfilled. And if it's not fulfilled, you're always going to be frustrated. And you're going to be frustrated because you knew that you could have had that fulfilled by the other woman. Now, it's not always like that. It's not always like that. I get that. However, when it does come down to it, I know plenty of guys, plenty of men that they're dating multiple women, but they are actually ready for a relationship. They just can't figure out which one they want to be with because they like both of them, or they like all three, all four, however many women they're dating. They like all of those women. They all bring something different to the table that they enjoy and they value from those women, but they're trying to figure out exactly how do they choose which one to really be with and to make their woman into a relationship, or possibly make into a long-term relationship that becomes a marriage. And if that's you, where you're struggling with trying to figure out which woman do you choose from, I'm here to tell you that it doesn't have to be that difficult. It doesn't have to be that difficult, because here's the thing you have to understand. What you have to understand is that you make the decisions that are best for you. You have to make the decisions that are best for you, because if you make a decision that's best for somebody else, or your family, or the woman that you're dating, if you're making the decision that's best for them, you will always be left behind, because you put yourself on the back burner. You put your needs on the back burner. Hey, how you doing? If you're just joining this live, I'm just talking about how to prepare yourself for a serious relationship when you're dating multiple women at one time. So you can't put yourself on the back burner, because when you put yourself on the back burner, that lets the woman know, or the women know, that you don't value yourself. And if you don't value yourself, they can't value you. But going back to what I was saying is, it doesn't have to be a challenge. It doesn't have to be a challenge. If you really want to be in a relationship with a woman and you have multiple women that you're seeing or you're dating, whether they know about it or not, what you have to do is two specific things. Well, three. The first thing is, don't make your decisions based off of number one, looks. Okay? Don't base your decisions off of looks. Because I'm here to tell you, if you're already in a relationship with those, well, excuse me, if you're already dating those women, then obviously you're already attracted to them. So don't even think about the looks, right? The second thing is stop worrying about the sex. Now, hear me out. Hear me out when I say this. I don't want you to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? So, what I'm talking about is if you throw the looks out the window, obviously, whatever woman you're with her because you're attracted to her, you're dating because you're attracted to her or them or whatever. But when it comes to the sex, I want you to throw that out the window. And then I'm gonna explain why. I just want you to listen. Just don't tune me out. Just listen. When the sex is out the window and the looks are out the window, the only thing that's left is what you value in a woman besides those two things, and also her character, how she treats you. Because you could have a woman that treats you excellent, amazing. She treats you really, really well. And she may cook really well, but maybe her looks, in your opinion, are a 6 or a 7 compared to that woman that looks like a 9 or 10, but her character isn't really that good, and she doesn't cook, she doesn't like to cook, she doesn't know how to cook. Then what decisions do you make from there? So that's why I say it's very important that you have to really understand what you want in a relationship when it comes to a woman, but also don't get so fixated on her looks or the sex. Because looks, like I said before, a woman, she's going to get old, right? A woman's going to get old, looks fade. And when it comes to sex, you can teach a woman how to be better at sex. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. And when you put those two things off of the pedestal, the sex and the looks, everything else is open season. So now you can really figure out, okay, what do I value? Do I value a woman that cooks and cleans? Do I value a woman that wants to be a mother and a wife that stays home and takes care of the kids while I work? Do you want a woman that actually wants to work as well, that doesn't want any kids, and you guys just be Bonnie and Clyde and have a great life together? You have to understand and you have to realize that those things are important, because if you don't know what you want in a relationship and you don't know what you want with a woman and from a woman, you're just going to get anything. And when you get anything, that's when a lot of men have frustrations later on in their relationship, because they say, well, I picked the wrong woman because of this. The sex was great in the beginning. And I know you guys probably heard this shit before. The sex was amazing in the beginning, but now she treats me like this. She treats me like that. And you hear all the negative things that women do that you don't want to go through. And you will go through those things if you don't figure out exactly what you want with a woman. And if you don't choose the right woman, it's for you. Because here's the thing, and I say this all the time. A woman, any woman you get with, any woman that you make your main woman or your woman or women, however you want to do it, any woman you get with, the sex is always going to come with her. It's attached to her body. So the pussy sex is always going to be there. Her looks, it's always going to be there, but like I said before, that does fade. But when it comes to how she treats you and how she is as a person, those things are important, because that is what's going to determine how the relationship plays out. Not her looks, not the sex. That you can get sex anywhere. You can women come a dime a dozen. The looks, there's beautiful women all over everywhere, right? But the thing that you have to realize is you want to value her character. You want to value what she actually brings to the table that you value. Not what society says you should value, not what your friends and family say you should value, but you, because you're going to be living with her. You're going to be in a relationship with her. You're going to be married to her one day. So you have to understand that those are the things that are important. Now, the other thing I was going to say is that when you are dating a woman, you want to make sure that you don't rush it. You want to make sure that you do not rush shit, because when you rush things, you kind of gloss over and look over everything that is important. And when you look over everything that's important, you miss those important things that could have been red flags, or things that could have stopped you from being in a relationship with this woman in the first place. But when you focus on the looks and you focus on the sex, what happens? You don't realize that there are so many different red flags that you missed. And you have to keep that in mind, guys. You have to keep that in mind, because if you don't, sooner or later you're going to pay for it. And I'd rather you lose that woman because you made the right decision than to be with the wrong woman and really regret it later on. It's not fun. It's not fun. So those are some things you got to think about, and it's pretty much you knowing what you want, and knowing that when you pick what you want, you have to stick by what you want. So don't pick the woman that, what's a good example? Don't pick the woman that, she looks good, everything's going good, and she cooks, she cleans, everything that you want. Don't pick her, and then there's one little incident that you have a disagreement on, and you say, that's a red flag, she shouldn't disagree with me, and like, no, I'm done. Don't do that. Don't do that, because it's all about patterns. That's the reason why I say you want to slow down when you're dating a woman. You want to slow down and really get to know her, get to know what's in her mind, how she thinks, her mindset, her behaviors. And you want to make sure that you do that, because that's going to let you know her patterns, because it's not just one isolated incident where you disagree with each other. Is she being combative? Is she raising her voice? Is she treating you like shit? All those things, you got to look out for those things and pay attention to those things when you're dating, because they will show up. They will show up. And some people, they try to guilt trip you. Some women do this as well. It's like, oh, you've been dating her for this long. Like, why don't you get married? Why don't you do this and that? Man, take your time. Take your time. Now, don't waste her time and don't waste yours. But if everything is going good and you really enjoy her company, you see that you both are compatible, then that's a good sign. That's a green flag. And if that's the thing that you really want, and that's the woman that you really want to be with, that's great, but still take your time. I'm not going to give you a time limit on how long you should take to get into a serious relationship, how long you should take before you get engaged or get married. But you want to take your time, feel her out. Because after all the fun and games have settled down, and that cloud of mystery and the facade, all that stuff, once all that stuff drops, then you get to know who the woman really is, because you can only hold on to a mask for so long until it falls off and you see how a person really is. So that's the thing you guys gotta really know and understand. And these are for my guys that are out here that are actually seriously, actively looking for a relationship. I'm not talking about guys that, you're just dating a girl so you have sex and you're just trying to have fun. That's great, but I'm talking to my men that really, really want to be in a serious relationship, and they want to do it the right way. They don't want to be frustrated. They don't want to make the same mistakes that other men have made. And they want to be in a happy relationship and marriage and possibly have kids. That's what it's all about, and that's what this channel is about. So that's the things you need to really consider when it comes to dating women and being in a relationship. And never, ever let a woman or anybody pressure you into doing something that you don't want to do. If a woman or anybody pressures you into being in a relationship, or to getting engaged, or to getting married, or any of that, that's a red flag. That's a red flag, and you really have to nip it in the bud and let her know that that's not what I'm going to tolerate, and that's not what we're going to do. And if you can't respect my boundaries or my time limit that I set for myself, then we're just not going to work out. But you have to be, you have to know yourself, and you have to be very self-assured, self-aware, a high sense of self. You have to have all those things, because You can't tell a woman that if you don't have high self-worth and self-value, and you don't see yourself as the prize and the winner, you won't be able to have those tough conversations, because you'll be afraid to lose her. And if you're afraid to lose her, you will lose her. If you're afraid to lose a woman, you will lose the woman. Understand that. Understand that. And the last thing I want to leave you guys with before I get out of here is, however you start dating that leads into the relationship is how she's going to expect it to be from then on. So if you're a guy and you have money, that's great. But I'm here to tell you, if you lead with money and you make the woman assume and think that you value money, then she's always going to expect that from you. However you start the dating, however you start the relationship, that's how she's going to expect you to be the remainder of the relationship. So understand that. And the other thing I want to say, this is very important. When you have a disagreement with a woman, don't raise your voice. Don't insult her. Don't put your hands on her. There's a lot of reasons why you don't want to do that, and I'm going to tell you, one of the reasons why you don't want to raise your voice with a woman or insult her or put her hands on you if you have a disagreement is because as you're dating a woman, she doesn't really know you. She's comparing you to other men, right? And if she's comparing you to other men, you want to fill her head with positive thoughts and experiences with you. You want to fill her head with positive thoughts and positive experiences with you. Because if you have those positive thoughts and experiences with her, and that is all she sees in her head, in her subconscious mind over and over, one, she's going to be more pleasant, right? But two, if things don't work out, she can never say that you were abusive, you were angry, you had problems. She can never say anything bad about you. And if she does do you wrong, guess what? Another woman or women will know that, damn, she did this guy wrong and he was a good guy. Not that you were a nice guy, but you were a good guy. You did insult her. You were just, maybe she didn't fit what you wanted in a relationship. Maybe her values and your values didn't align, but it didn't work out. But just because it didn't work out doesn't mean that you lost your value. It doesn't mean that another woman won't value you or your values won't align. It just means it didn't work out. But like I said before, you want to make sure when you're in a relationship with a woman, start it off on the good foot. Start it off to where you're positive, you're being a man, you're being a leader, you're showing her what it's like to be with you, the experience of being with a real man, the experience of being with a man who knows what he wants and that takes action on what he wants. He does what he says. Because when you do those things, you start to get her mind. You start to get her mind. And when you have a woman's mind, that's the most valuable thing that a woman can offer you is her mind. Not her looks, not the sex, it's her mind. Have her mind, she starts to fall in love with you, and then you have her heart. First is her mind. It's by you being the way I said before, being yourself, obviously, but being a pleasant person to be around. And she'll slowly start to compare you to other guys, but say, hey, this guy's different. This guy's very pleasant to be around. This guy is positive. This guy has ambitions. He has drives. He gives me good experiences. And then when she starts to fall in love with you, you have her heart. We had this thing in the military where we say winning hearts and minds. When we go into deployments or we just conflict around the world, we try to win the hearts and minds of others. And when you're with a woman and you behave the way that I'm telling you, you'll win her heart and mind as well. And when you win her heart and mind, you'll always have her. You'll always have her. And the sex is just a perk. It's just a perk. That's all that is. Nothing crazy, nothing extreme. It's just something that comes with it. And when you know how to pleasure a woman successfully, that is another thing that will stand out for her and it makes you different than other men as well. But it all connects. You just have to really know who you are, know what you want, and take your time, because when you rush, they say only fools rush in. When you rush into a relationship and you don't know yourself, you don't take your time, there'll always be issues and challenges and problems, and you won't know how to handle those issues, challenges, and problems, and you'll be frustrated. Like the men that I talk about, that they sometimes wish they were not in their marriages, or they wish they were not in the relationship they're in, or they wish they would have known what I share with them sooner. But that doesn't have to be you. If you're a man right now and you're listening to this and you just want to get into a great relationship where the woman is pleasant, you have great experience with her, and she's feminine, and you actually feel like a man in the relationship, those are the things that you have to take in mind and consider. But I'm going to read these little chats, and that will be it. Let's see. Marina Feliciano. What good? I'm going to like, hey, hi, bye, yo, hi, bro. Hey, what's up, man? Black Blast Gamer, what's up? What's up? Do you have room 40? I'm not sure what that is. But let me see something real quick, and I'll send you guys on your way. What is this? How do you do this? I'm trying to put the Q&A on here. I'm not sure how to do it. But if you have any questions, put it in the chat. I'll answer your questions, and that'll be it. Hope you got a lot out of this video. Hope it made sense, and maybe you have a different perspective. But other than that, if you're in a situation where you're trying to figure out exactly why a woman is doing this or doing that, you're dating, maybe you get ghosted, or whatever you call it nowadays, and you just want a genuine, great relationship, but you don't know where to start, you're not sure what to do, and maybe your situation is completely different than what I've been discussing on this live, make sure you go ahead and click on the description, and it will take you to a 45-minute clarity session where what we do is we really get deep on your situation, see exactly where you're at so you can get some clarity, see what's stopping you from getting the relationship or whatever you want. We can see what is stopping you, and I can help you move forward. It's absolutely free, 45 minutes, because when you have clarity, you have a lot more power than you may know. But until next time, you have an outstanding one, and I will talk to you guys later.